How's it going, everybody? It's been a long time. I've been super busy, obviously, like everyone else in the world is right now with work and family and all that kind of stuff. Uh, I've wanted to make this video, literally since I did the very first one. It was probably my number one idea for a video, and uh, timing just kind of works right now. I literally decided maybe 10, 15 minutes ago I was going to do this, so I don't have any notes or anything like that. So I'm going to ramble more than usual, which is quite the feat. But I decided today I'm finally going to tell the story about uh, when I broke my neck. And I think to do that, I need to start at the beginning um, and start with uh, Hickey, Michael Hickey. I met Hickey through in Oshkosh. He was training there, at ACW. Absolutely best trainers you could possibly have in the state. Really, I mean, you learn from the guy that used to work with the biggest company in the world. Um, Probably one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. Not indie, not professional, whatever. In Colucci, absolutely love Colucci. Love his work. Just learned so much from that guy. But anyways, Hickey was one of the. He's one of the ring crews, just constantly around. Super respectful to me, always super respectful to everyone I've ever seen. He's a little over the top. I think anyone that's ever met Hickey knows he's a little, whatever. Super creative guy. Always the most ridiculous ideas. Never the best ideas, but they're always super creative ideas. Um, but I was asked if I wanted to work against him in Kimberly to show for ACW. It was going to be me and Corey Wells, fat Corey Wells, not tall Corey Wells. Against Hickey and Jordy Lee. Super easy little match. Had a lot of fun. Crowd really liked it. Hickey didn't mess up too bad there. So that was a plus. But we worked really well together. So I was asked then a couple months later or not even a couple months actually, I believe it was a couple weeks. A couple weeks later if I wanted to work him again in Kiel for WPW. And I was like, of course, So we basically took what we had in Oshkosh and just kind of built on top of it. We had a decent chemistry. Big bad villain versus crazy little guy just kind of works. So we had a pretty good match there. Again, crowd got super into it. They really liked it. Beat the hell out of him. And I just he's just a super solid guy. Like he really is. But for ACW, they were trying to build me up as like this new just take no prisoners, I don't give a crap kind of, bad guy or whatever. And it was working pretty well. And they told me I was going to be working Hickey in Oshkosh. I was like, awesome. We're doing really well together. And he was still super new. I think he'd maybe been actually working matches 3, 4, 5 months at the time, something like that. And we go out there. We're doing our thing. Again, we kept it super simple. Which I think the best matches really are. I would much rather tell a great story and have okay wrestling than tell a terrible story and have 5-star Dave Meltzer bullcrap Tokyo Dome kind of stuff. But crowd was pretty decently into it, and we'd actually done the exact spot before. I believe we did it in Kiel. But regardless, Hickey's making his comeback, this, that, and the other. And throws his arm around my head, goes back, DDT. And I remember hitting and turning over and just staring at the ceiling and instantly knowing something's wrong. Like, I didn't feel hurt. Like, I wasn't in pain at the moment. But I was just like, something's wrong. Like this isn't right. And pre-note also, I'm going to do my best not to just give a lot of anger to the next person I'm going to mention. I do it a lot. And a lot of it's not justified, but on a very personal level, it really is. And I don't need to put it out there as much as I do. But our referee, Jimmy Diamond, came over to check on me. And I just said, tell Hickey I'm hurt. We're done. Literally what I said to him. He goes over. I don't know what he said to Hickey because he was too far away from me or whatever. Hickey crawls over, throws his arm over me. 1, 2, Jimmy stops. I don't know why. Because I told him I'm hurt, I'm done. And he stuttered the 3 and finally hits the 3 and then just starts screaming to ring the bell, which even then Bob didn't want to ring the bell. Because it just looked funny. Like from a wrestling standpoint, it just looked really funny. So I understand half of it, I guess. I don't remember anything that Hickey did after that. I don't know if he got up and celebrated, if he just got out of the ring and left. I'm not sure what he did. I couldn't tell you. Again, I was just staring at the ceiling. And the people I remember in the ring, total, again, I don't remember in order or anything, but the people I remember in the ring were Jimmy, TJ Bowles, best wrestler, or best referee in the state, head and arms. He'd wear matching shoes and belts. He would work in New York. Or Florida now, whatever. I remember Josh Weimer being there, one of the owners of ACW. I remember Mickey Gust. And God, I can't remember his name to save my life. I remember... oh my God, Brandon Clark's dad, stepdad? I never remember. I always mess that up too, if it's dad or stepdad. But Mickey's a nurse. His stepdad or dad, God, I'd never fucking remember. Sorry for swearing. Try to do that as little as possible. Or a nurse and he's a paramedic, I think. Something like that, regardless. But they got in and immediately like, what happened? What happened? And I was just like, I don't feel right. Something's not right. I wasn't moving because you see all the time, like when you think you have some sort of head and neck injury, they don't want you to move. So I just kind of instantly just laid there and, was super still. And between Mickey and Brandon's relatives, I'm just going to go with relative. They were, can you feel me squeeze your fingers? Can you move your fingers? Can you feel me squeezing your toes? Can you move your toes? And I was able to do all that kind of stuff, So from there, I was fine. And I heard somebody yell, we need to call 911. And I was like, you can call them, I'm not going. Like, it's just not happening. No, you're hurt. We need to do that. And I was like, no, that's not happening. Like, I'm not that hurt. Like, I more than likely just have a stinger, which for those of you who don't know, you just kind of pinch a nerve in your neck or back somewhere, and it just shoots off. You basically like pain signals to different parts of the body, and you like your hands can go numb, your feet can go numb. That's kind of what I figured happened. So I wasn't super worried about it at the moment. They were like, well, we're going to help you out. And I was like, that's not happening either. Like, there's no way. I don't ever try to act like a tough guy, but I just refused. Like, there was no way someone was going to help me out of a professional wrestling ring. It wasn't happening. So against everyone's wishes, I rolled out of the ring, and again, I don't remember who. They tried to take me like under the arms or whatever, and I was like, "That's not happening either." Like, I'm walking out of here. Like, this not happening. Like, no, dude, you're hurt. Let us help you. Like you need help. And I was like, no, that's not happening. So I walked to the back, and I got to the back and had gotten just past the curtain, and a lot of the guys are standing there, like to do whatever, and I just kind of fell over. And that was the moment that it clicked in my brain, like, okay, I think I'm like seriously hurt, like something's wrong. And I think I even said out loud while I was like laying on the floor, I was like, okay, I'll go to a hospital now. They're getting ready to like call 911, and by this time, my mother, who was at this show, all the shows my mother ever comes to, this is the one she comes to. my good luck for me though. My mom gets through the curtain or whatever, and they're getting ready to call 911 for an ambulance. I was like, no. Like, someone can drive me to a hospital. I'm not getting in an ambulance. Like, that's just not happening. And I still had all my gear on, basically just packed up my bag best I could. And we went out to my truck. We GPSed emergency rooms in Oshkosh, and it took us to the wrong one, basically. It took us to like an urgent care place that was closed. So we drove 20 minutes one way to then have to drive 20 minutes back to drive 15 minutes away from where we originally were. So that was great. But we get to the emergency room. It's just me and my mom. And I'm still in full wrestling gear. Yeah, still have my boots on, knee pads, everything. My wrist tape's even still on probably. And like, hey, I fell on my head or whatever, and I just really need to be checked out. She's like, okay, whatever. So I go and I sit down. Mom sits next to me, and we're just kind of chit-chatting, and they finally get me into a room. There's nobody else there, so I get service super quick, which was kind of nice. But they get me into a room, and I'm just kind of laying there. And this doctor comes in, and he's like, hey, heard what happened. We're just going to do some x-rays. All right, that's fine. 2 or 3 minutes later, this little old nurse comes in. Think of like, the oldest woman from Golden Girls. That's what she looked like. That's what she reminds me of. That's what I always picture when I think of this story. And she comes to get me to take me to do these x-rays. And again, still full wrestling gear. I haven't showered, anything like that, so I just smell. And we're walking, and I told her what happened. She's like, oh, man, that's crazy. I was like, yeah, wouldn't it look pretty tough? I'm just kind of walking around here with a broken neck. Like, that's the first time broken neck, like, popped in my head this entire time. And I said that to her, and she's just kind of, that would make you look pretty tough, wouldn't it? I was like, yeah, just kind of joking around. We get in there, we get the x-rays done, send me back to my room. I get in my room, and probably 5-10 minutes later, a different doctor pokes his head in, and he's like, hey, I looked at your x-rays. I didn't see anything major. You're probably going home soon. You just basically confirmed that you got a stinger, you'll be fine. And I was like, all right, cool. As he's walking out of the room, that same nurse that had walked me to the room, or to the x-ray room, walks in. And she's wearing a C-collar. Or she's holding a C-collar in her hand. And she, like, just super, like, tense goes, do not move your head. You broke your neck. Like, with the C-collar, like, coming at me. And I just immediately, like, just froze. Like, did not move. And it was super, I can't say I was surprised. I guess more shocked that it actually happened is probably the more accurate word. I was just I didn't move. She and my mom put it on me. I think my mom helped, here nor there. But then my actual doctor comes walking in the room, like, right after they got it on. And he's like, hey, here's the situation. So you chipped a piece of your C6 off, and actually broke the vertebrae. That's not the bad part. You tore the artery, partially. Hey, it's my Logan. Logan, can you say hi?
Hi.
Yeah, it's my little guy, right? All right. Can you go upstairs, watch a movie? Dad's trying to do a video. Can you go upstairs and watch a movie? Okay, you can just crawl around. So I guess I'm gonna have somebody with me. But hi, buddy. I love you. I love you.
I know, Boo.
You bet. How much?
What?
This much.
This much.
Yeah, that's right, you do. Anyways, so he told me that, this piece of my bone had chipped off and I'd actually broken the vertebrae itself, but that I'd partially tore the artery inside of my C6. And I didn't grasp that at first. I was like, oh, okay. And I think he sensed how unserious I was about it. I was thinking more about the, neck part or the broken bone. And he's like, no, we need to ship you to Oshkosh to Green Bay right now. We don't have a trauma center set up in Oshkosh for what you're dealing with right now. And I was kind of like, what? And he's like, yeah, if for some reason, would you be quiet? Well, come back here. You're fine, buddy. But he's like, yeah, you could pretty much rip the rest of that in any moment and you could be on the operating table and we couldn't help you. And that's when everything sunk in, like just immediately just hammer. And in order, I thought of two things. Number one, and this is obviously most important, I had the instinct of, what are my wife and kids gonna do? Like, never gonna get to see them again. My family, my friends. And I kept this all locked up. Like, there was no There was no emotion that came out of this. It just kind of entered my head and sat there. And I knew I was about to break down, so I kind of had to break the tension with the doctor and my mom in the room. So I said the second thing that entered my mind, and I just kind of looked at my mom and was like, I don't think I'm wrestling anymore. And she was like, you're damn right you're not. He's just going off or whatever. And but they get an ambulance ready. They brought a bed in. They strapped me to a board so I couldn't move. They take me out to this ambulance and they get me loaded up, and I had to like sign a piece of paper like while laying down with my arm, whatever, saying I gave them permission to give me drugs basically. And the guy gave me, I couldn't tell you what it was. He gave me some sort of shot that I don't remember 3 seconds after it went into my arm kind of thing, and I woke up in Green Bay. Thank God, because 41 between Oshkosh and Green Bay is horrible. With a broken neck, it had just been god-awful. But they get me there, and I wake up in a room that's, God, the room had to have been, it felt like it was 100 feet by 100 feet. It just felt massive. And I'm on a bed in the middle of this room, and there's not a piece of equipment anywhere near me. I'm still strapped to this board, but there's people walking in and out of this room constantly, and they have something to do everywhere around this room but me. And I'm laying there for a solid 10 minutes before anybody comes to talk to me. And this nurse comes up, and she's like, hey, do you need anything? And I was like, I really gotta pee. Like, that's the first thing out of my mouth. Like, I really gotta pee. Before wrestling match, I usually chug a bunch of water, so, I sweat really well, and then I almost always have to go pee after a match. And I didn't get to do that because, what's up, Blue? But it's what I said. I was like, I've really got to pee. And she's like, okay, hold on, I can help you with that. So she goes back and she comes back to me with this, like, it looked like a milk jug kind of thing, what do you call that? Whatever. It was just like a square solid container, and then it had like a little turn at the top with a handle. And in between that, somebody had come and cut everything off me, all my gear and whatnot, which is actually, oddly enough, still sitting in my wrestling bag. But they come and get all that off me. I had a sheet over me. And she comes in, and without telling me what she's doing, just kind of lifts the sheet real quick and right on my junk. The second she did that, everybody in that room had to have something to do with me. Somebody was taking my blood pressure. Somebody was putting an IV in. Somebody was just doing something with me. No sooner than this nurse had just put a jug on me to try and pee. And it took a solid 2 minutes, and I'd finally just had it. And I was like, I need everyone to leave me alone for 5 minutes. And everyone just kind of stopped and walked away. You know how hard it is to pee while laying on your back? Not sleeping? It is super hard. I tried for a solid 10 minutes before I finally gave the woman that I was done. But, it was... I didn't... I just lay there while the same people kept asking me the exact same questions over and over and over and over again. And it was just super annoying. And I had literally just reached a point of like, I just want to go home. Like, it still in the back of my mind had that, like, I could still die kind of thing. And it was just like, if I do this, I want to go home. Like I want to see my wife and kids again, and... Yeah, I know my wife had gotten there that night. I don't remember seeing her before waking up in the morning. I guarantee I did. I don't remember, though, because they had put so much pain medication in me, I was just out of it. And, Pee story number 2 from this. I woke up the next morning, and my wife is there. I don't remember if she's sleeping still or whatnot. I remember coming to, and this nurse comes in. She's like, "Hey, I'm nurse such and such. I'll be taking care of you." She like reads my chart. She's like, "Do you need anything?" I was like, "No, I'm good." And I didn't move. I just laid there. I was like, "Nope, I'm good." Still have the C collar on and everything. And she leaves. She comes back a little while later. And she's like, "Hey, are you sure you don't need anything?" And I said the same thing that I said to the nurse the night before. I was like, "I really gotta pee." Again, putting all these fluids in me, I gotta pee. And she's like, "Oh, they should have put a catheter in you last night." And I did not remember that. And that kind of freaked me out. So I just kind of immediately, like, "They what?" Because I didn't feel anything, So I lifted up the sheet and looked, and she freaks out and runs. And I was like, okay. Like, I'm wondering, like, I didn't show her anything. And, like, what could have happened? Different nurse comes in, and she, like, helped me, like, stand up and get to the bathroom, and I finally got to pee, thank God. And that original nurse comes back in maybe an hour or so later, and you could tell she'd been crying. Like, she just looked a little like this right now. And she's like, "I want to apologize for what happened before. I read your chart and saw that you had broken your neck, and I assumed you were paralyzed, and then you started moving." And I was like, "Okay, that's fine, whatever, nothing worth crying about." Another nurse told me that she's very, like, super religious, and she thought she'd seen, like, a miracle kind of thing. So she went into a stairwell kind of thing and, like, cried and prayed for, like, half an hour, thinking she had seen a miracle. But yeah, so I wake up and I'm almost immediately seen by a surgeon, Dr. Garden, for Aurora Bear Care. He's actually the chief surgeon for the Green Bay Packers, so that immediately made me feel better. And he kept telling me my neck was intriguing, which I thought was really weird. Like, he just kept telling me, "Hey, I got the X-ray of your neck. Your neck's very intriguing." Set and the other. We got to wait for the artery to heal up before we can do any sort of surgery. So it could be a week, it could be a month, it could be however long we have to wait for that to heal, because I have to be on blood thinners because of it, which is, we'll get to that after. But he's like, "Yeah, as soon as that's ready, we're good to go." But he kept telling me my neck was intriguing. I couldn't figure out why. Anyways, we'll get to that part later. But some of the boys came and saw me. The 2 I remember, and again, I know there were more, but the 2 I remember were Shane Hills and I believe Tommy, TW3 came. I think Tommy came. I'm pretty sure Tommy came. But they gave me a get well soon card. A bunch of the guys had put their paydays from ACW in it, which was unnecessary but very cool. One Colin Brooks put a Brooks buck in it. I still have the card. I still have the Brooks buck. I'll never get rid of it. I laughed way too hard when I saw that. I got to go home somewhere around the afternoon, and then started what was easily 4 of the hardest months of my life. Because again, I couldn't have surgery until that artery had healed. And they put me on an obscene amount of blood thinners. I can't remember what the actual number was, but they told me, like, when they put elderly on blood thinners for, like, heart attack issues or, whatever kind of issues, that what I was given was roughly to thin my blood twice that. Because they couldn't let it partially clot. The clot breaks, it goes to my head. Again, I'm done. So I was kind of in a, damned if I do, damned if I don't situation. But had to go see somebody for that 2 to 3 times a week to have my blood drawn to make sure I was still at the proper levels, that kind of thing. My blood was so thin, if I would have, like, cut myself shaving, which, I mean, why would I do that? I would have had to, like, go get stitches, kind of thing. Like, that's how thinned out I had to be. But I'd gotten home, and that's when the pain really, really started to set in. The bone had chipped off and gotten between my spinal cord and the bone, like the rest of my vertebrae. So it was pushing on a set of nerves that controlled my right arm. So for 4 months, I sat with, when you wake up, or when your foot's waking up from being asleep, and you have that painful tingle that's coming out of it. I had that like times a million for 4 straight months of shooting pain from my tip of my shoulder to the tip of my middle finger. Literally, it just did not stop. And all I was able to do was sit. And after the first probably month or so, I was able to walk decently. We had to have people come help me get the boys in and out of the crib, which was head and arms the worst part because the twins had just started walking, and I'd be sitting in this chair, and Chris and Michael just come up, Dad, play. Dad, let's play. I can't, buddy. Like, it was horrible. And, you know, I tried to block it as much as possible that I'm sitting there with like, well, there's still a time bomb in there. Like, you know, I could, any minute. Like, a lot of people when they find out they have like, you know, a time limit kind of thing, they do everything they can. You know, bucket list kind of things. They, you know, live life to the fullest. I physically couldn't. Like, everything I could do, I did, but I just physically couldn't. And I wanted to do so much and just couldn't. I'd finally gotten another cat scan, some scan done. Basically said the artery was fine. I was good to go. And was able to schedule surgery. And it was almost 4 months to the day, actually, that I was able to get my surgery done. I was literally in the hospital for like 6 hours, which kind of amazed me. I had to shave off my beard, had to shave my head because I still had hair at the time. Go in, saw Dr. Garden right before. Again, said my neck was intriguing. I'm about to get to that part. And he did the surgery. Surgery went as flawlessly as it could have, apparently. Got to go home. Was still in a little bit of pain. Still had some other issues that I'll talk about at a different time. But finally, for the first time in like 4 months, just felt comfortable. Like, finally. And it wasn't even like the pain part of it, because like that was, having that gone finally was just a godsend. But to know that I was out of the woods, that I wasn't in that any moment kind of state was a good feeling. Know that I still had years with my boys and my wife and family and friends. I was comfortable. Hadn't had that in a long time. But I went to my last checkup after surgery with Dr. Garden again, the surgeon. And he, again, one last time told me, you know, your neck is it's intriguing. And I finally was like, okay, this is the last time I'm going to see you, guy. Why is my neck so intriguing? He's like, I guess I could show you that, you know, whatever. So he pulls up an x-ray of my neck, and he shows me where, like, the back of my neck is, you know, the natural curvature of your neck. And he's like, normally, your spine follows, like, that exact trajectory, kind of, you know. But he's like, but yours goes at, like, where the curve is. He's like, yours goes out way farther and comes back. And I was like, okay. He's like, there's just this extra muscle buildup between your neck at the base and, you know, like where you can see the outside from. You can't see this from the outside. And I was like, okay, why is that so intriguing? He's like, because, I can't remember what he told me, but he said he'd only ever seen one other athlete with it. It was another wrestler, but it was a school wrestler. It was a amateur wrestler for UW. I can't remember his name. He told me, which I think about is probably violating HIPAA laws or whatever. But he said from constantly falling down, where your head has that natural pull up, taking bumps in wrestling and whatnot. He's like, you just build up this extra muscle, extra tendon strength in the back of your neck, and you can't see it from the outside, but you can see it from the inside. You just have a natural, deeper curve to your neck. And I was like, that's what you've been telling me has been intriguing this entire time. It's like, oh yeah, have a good day, and just walks out the door. But, all in all, I won't say I would do it again. I think who would want to break their neck again, But I still think I wouldn't change anything. Like, I know that sounds really weird to say, but I still firmly believe that everything that happened, I'm not going to say happens for a reason, but everything that happened affects where I am today. I wouldn't think the way I do today. I wouldn't have the clarity on mental illness that I have today. I wouldn't be as thankful for everything I have today if this would not have happened. And again, I know it's really weird, it's really backward thinking, but do I kind of wish it didn't happen? A little. Obviously, nobody wants to go through that. It's a really painful time, but there's a stitch of good. There's one. It's just one stitch on a full blanket, but there's a stitch. It changed the way I think about some stuff. Changed how grateful I am for things. Changed the way I live my life, like, completely. I think that's for the better, honestly. Last thing. I'm sorry, this video has been super uberly long. Thank you if you've been watching this far. The last thing I want to talk about, a while after, I believe about a year after it happened, I had finally found footage of my accident. It was something I never thought I'd see, and I don't even really know what drove me to want to see it, but I felt like I needed to. Like, I need to see it. I need to know if I made a mistake, like what happened. On that note, there was a period, I shouldn't even say period, it lasted a while. There was a period where I just kind of wanted to, I really hated Hickey. I'm not going to lie. Outwardly, I was fine with him. I never expressed this to him before. I never even talked to people about it. I never told my wife this, my family this, nothing. This was all just completely internal. I hated him. I hated Mike Hickey. And I'd internalized and had just come down to, he hurt me, he did something wrong, I'd done that move 1,000 times, I'd never been hurt. I'd actually never really been hurt in a wrestling ring before, until that moment. And I carried so much hate for Mike Hickey. And it's not the way I am. I refuse to be like that, but circumstances what they were, it's just kind of what I felt. And I finally got to watch the video. And as I'm watching it, I'm watching move by move, and I'm thinking back to what we had planned, and I just kept going, oh, we did that different. Oh, we did that different, or whatever. Sorry for the kayfabe, I don't care anymore. And I was like, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And it happened. And I stopped it, and I had this moment of clarity of, it's an accident. I did everything I normally do. It wasn't him, it wasn't me. It was just that 1 in a million, you know? And I had a sense of relief, but I also had a real bad sense of guilt because I just internally just hated Hickey for so long for really no reason. Not that it affected. I know that on some level this affected him too. We joke about it quite a bit. We're super open about it. We actually wish that some sort of storyline would have came out of it. Who knows? But internally, I feel bad that I thought about him the way I did for so long. It's again, this in particular didn't affect him at all. Like what I was thinking didn't, because I never actually said this out loud to anybody, and I don't think it was fair that I did. I love Hickey to death. I really do. He's a great guy. He's still somebody that when I see him at a show, like I've got to go talk to him. I have to, you know. But yeah, I think he's a good dude. Everyone should book Hickey. I think it costs like $7, so you gotta book Hickey. Anyways, so I'm gonna go ahead and I'm just gonna keep rambling. So I'm gonna go ahead and stop this video now. Thank you all for watching. If you're through this marathon, you're a saint. You really are. I'm down here, buddy. Oh, shut up, big dog. But you guys have a great rest of your day, night, evening, afternoon, whenever you're watching this. Oh, Logan's back. Come here, Logan. You're just in time to say bye. Come here. Come here. Come here. Can you tell everyone the life motto?
Yeah.
What is it? Come here. No, come here. Come here. Tell everyone, what's the life motto? Dream.
Dream, try, do good.
That's right. We dream, we try, we do good. That's right.
Woodpecker is done.
Say bye.
Bye.